Hey y'all, so what you just witnessed is me watching, or actually checking, 2 test prints of the small commissions that I've made. Well, relatively small. The real size of the commissions are 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. Well, no, 20 centimeters by 20 centimeters. Girl. So they were 20 centimeters by 20 centimeters. The reason why I wanted to have some test prints on the paper that I also wanted on is to get the real feeling of what it is that I want to offer as a secondary service to what I've created. So the secondary service that I want to offer is that the people that participated in this particular project can ask for a print, right? And they can decide how big that print can be. So I'll offer them the possibilities, also how much I am going to price them, and they can then decide for themselves if they want to do that, yes or no. And that is of course a great way for any artist to monetize on something that is for the client or maybe the organization that they have commissioned. Now I have to discuss it, of course, with the foundation first, if they allow it. And maybe we have to come to certain terms about it or whatever, but it would be really neat to offer it to them. Also, I was thinking of in the form of postcards to do that. I also ordered another type of art form, an art plat, but I think it's in the mailbox, so I will look for it in the morning to see if they delivered that. But so far, I love the fact that you can see the consistency. I scanned the artworks before sending them out to the client, so I do have to do some editing a little bit here and there just to make it neater. I don't like the way, when you cut the edges off in Photoshop. I don't like the way how it cut it off. But since I'm pretty beginner level, I don't consider myself to be a huge Photoshop. I don't consider myself to really be a Photoshop whiz, but I do know how to work myself around it. So I'm definitely going to work it so that it looks a little bit more presentable. I am also going to up the contrast a little so that it is a little bit more vibrant. And maybe I'm going to change the paper because I do feel that it is kind of lackluster in a sense of the way it feels, the way it looks. It's of course a piece of paper. It's not normal paper. This is museum archival paper. So this is the same paper that is being used for people that want to print their artwork on posters, on art prints, and that is the way it's being done. So this is actually the official way of how it's being done, but I don't know, it's kind of lackluster. So I'm gonna work on this a little bit to make sure that it looks better. So I'll definitely will come back to this and make another test print to see if that is according to my liking. But already the way that it looks, this is not even the original size what I offered to do. This is like 30 by 30 centimeters that I did. So I'm definitely just gonna work it a little bit. What I do like about this test print and the fact that I've scanned the artwork myself is that you can see the texture. So it is really clear how you can see the cotton, you can see the brush strokes, everything on it. And that is something that I absolutely love about this particular print. So yeah, very happy with how it looks. And I'm just gonna do a little bit of editing, not too much, and it will look absolutely awesome. Hey people, I hope you enjoyed the unboxing of my artsy goods. I promise to unbox one more item, but that will happen in another video, so I owe you one. I definitely owe you one. Anyway, do you remember this scene, this particular photo? You know where that comes from? You don't? So, have you been watching my video? You haven't? Or you don't remember this scene? This dramatic scene? You don't? Okay, well, let's go through memory lane and I'll show you what happened at this particular moment. All right, you guys, so it is 1:42 a.m. Wednesday. Let me see. It's now Thursday. It's Thursday. It's the last day of my holiday. I'm time-stamping it because if you've watched this video, that means that I already quit my job. Hella dramatic, I know. Now that I'm looking at it, I can only laugh. I can only laugh about it, but it's a serious note. So back then, I made a decision to quit my job. And in the next scene, I'm already going to warm you up on the follow-up of that decision and how I came to that decision and everything that I've done and what I did and how people reacted to it when I announced my decision. Yeah. Interesting. Sit back and have a look. Enjoy. Y'all see me? Y'all tell me when you don't see me, right? Okay, so listen up. Okay, so I just discussed the fact that I quit my job, right? And I gotta tell you, it's a really weird experience. It's weird. It's weird because this time I am the person who is determining that I am going to quit my job. In all of the 20 years that I've been working for companies, I've always came into situations that were either temporarily, so meaning they were on a contract basis, or they were due to reorganizations. I never really got, well, that's not true. Even if it's a reorganization or a temporary job, you get fired. But getting fired has such a bad connotation. It has a very negative connotation. But let's just be honest and technical about it. I got fired. Whether you want to see it positive or not. Girl, your ass got fired. But in this particular case, I now decided to make that change and leave my job. Why am I whispering? Leave my job. Just leave my job. And it's weird because last Friday, when I was sitting at my desk and most people were already leaving, and I wrote the email up saying, well, it's time to say, the title of the email was, it's time to say goodbye. It's time to say goodbye. I decided to, terminate my contract here at the company. I really enjoyed working with you all. I appreciate you all. It's time to go to do something else. And I just gave a really small hint of what I was going to do. Then I said I was going more in the art and culture market sector. I really didn't want to talk about the fact that I was, I'm doing all of this, right? I'm doing all of this. And the reason why I haven't done that is because, first of all, I haven't really spoken that much about my art at my job because that is none of their business. And it's always also not the environment that is really stimulating about the things that you're doing outside of your work, right? So for me, it was, it felt better for me to leave it right there, and I still feel good about leaving it right there. Now, I cannot, of course, prevent the fact that people are going to ask, well, what is it exactly that you're going to do? But I can always hint and say, well, I'm going to do more projects, artwork projects, and that is what I'm going to do, etc., etc., etc. So, and you know, another thing, I really don't feel that I owe them an explanation of why it is that I'm leaving. I don't owe them a real exact explanation of what it is that I'm going to do in my life. First of all, y'all didn't hire me. The company hired me. I have a contract with the company, not with y'all. But it is very funny how people then want to know what it is that you exactly are going to do. I remember that other colleague of mine who left last month, he left almost the same way. He said, well, I'm just going to do something different. And I asked him, oh, okay, so do you know what it is that you want to do? Because I already felt the energy that he didn't want to really, you know, divulge all too much about what it is that he wanted to go and do. And he said, I think I'm just going to travel a little, do something with my hands. You know, I will see what it's going to be. He probably or probably not already know what it is that he's going to do, but in no way does he have any obligation to tell us what it is that he's going to do. And I already got the hint, and I respected that. So I didn't ask anything further, or, you know, I want to know or anything, or why are you being so secretive? I know there are a couple of people at my job that did have that response. But in the way that I look at it, hey, listen, this is not my life, it's yours. So you get to decide whatever it is that you do. The only thing that we can say is that you're happy with whatever your choice is. And if not, you can always change it. So yeah, it was, you know, I wrote the email. I got a little bit emotional, but it had to do more with the fact that I was literally saying goodbye to that whole routine that I have for myself for the last 20 years. For those who do not know, I'm 39 years old. Sometimes I say 38 because I really feel like I'm not 39. Listen, I'm almost 40 years old. I had my real job after my 20s. So for almost the last 20 years, I've been in these cycles, in these routines, where I would work for someone else and I would be getting excited and I would, you know, really invest my time into things and also have my own thing that I wanted to do. But I always would get to this crossroad of, I cannot do both just as equally well. At least not for me. I don't know how it is for other people. Comment here below. I would love to know. And I think that people that are looking and watching me and watching these videos, when they read the comments, that they will get something out of that. But for me, I always came to a crossroad where I would be like, this is taking a lot of me. Because 1, I'm a single mom. 2, I'm doing this by myself. And 3, every penny that I'm getting out of my paycheck, I have to be mindful of that, how I do that. So the first couple of attempts that I had in life to do something for myself, they were also not very successful. And I also didn't make the right decisions. I didn't. So right now, at this particular moment where I am, a lot of my confidence that I know I'm just going to succeed in what I do is coming from a place where I know the lessons. I also know why I got stuck in that rut. Not to say you ain't gotta pay your bills. You got to pay your bills, people. Not to say that that is not necessary or that I'm against a 9-to-5 culture. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. In fact, I want to encourage everyone who is in this particular position where they want to start something for themselves. When you have a 9-to-5 job, keep it for as long as it is possible. Okay? Keep it for as long as it is possible. Stretch it out all the way that you can. If it is possible for you to work part-time and do whatever it is that you want to do to the side of it, do that. If it's only possible for you to work full-time and you you still can do what it is that you do that, right? Look what works for you. I dislike the fact when people are like, well, a 9 to 5 is no way to live in life. Listen, for some people, a 9 to 5 is the greatest thing that since sliced bread. So this is not going to be a platform where we are going to dismiss people that have been working 9 to 5. Because let me tell you, a 9 to 5 has saved me out of a lot of, insecure moments. But I understand for me, I can create, and it took a long time for me to get here. Let me be fully honest with you all. It took a really long time, and I've been doing art now for almost 10 years. It took a really long time for me to get to the point where I actually see the results of my thinking, of my mentality. And therefore, I had to change a couple of things. Hence me saying, in the 20 years that I've been working and have made attempts to do certain things for myself, they were not successful. But that's going to be a whole nother video, because this video is going to be way too long for me to explain everything and anything about that. Okay, it's going to be way too long. But just to make sure that for me, let me stress. Let me gather you. Let me gather you here. For me, okay, for me, pour moi, pour moi. For me, it has been a welcoming decision. I've not been dreading it. I've thought a long time about it, but I'm not dreading it. I'm not dreading it. The only reason why I got emotional when I typed the email and I sent it off, and I had that email sitting in my outbox for a month. I already knew the date. And I even adjusted the date a couple of times into the future. I remember when I interviewed, and that's another thing. I now have more time to also spend on the podcast that I have to create a fold and really get into that, because I had to put that on a hold. I had to put that on a hold, Mabel. I had to put that on a hold, and I never knew that podcasting would have been something that I enjoyed so much. Sharing information, getting information from other people. And I had to put it on a hold because people were leaving the place where I was. I already spoke about that. I'm going to link a video here in the corner so that you can have a look at it. People were leaving left and right. People were getting on holidays, and then also me, of course, talking about the fact that this team is not the most positive team, not the most progressive team. I was not ready to give all of that up that I've worked so hard for, to be in the dream of somebody else. But again, that is for me. That is not for anybody else. That is for me. Right? Why am I stressing that this is for me? Because I had a really good look at myself to make sure that I'm not doing this for anybody else's validation. I'm not doing this for anybody's approval. And I'm not doing this because I have something to prove. Right? The testament is already in me. And that is the only reason that you actually should be doing it. And of course, that you're going to make your living from it. Your livelihood from it. So yeah, listen. It's over and it's done. So they got 3 weeks out of me. The last week of October, I took a week off. Listen, I carefully planned this. Okay, I carefully planned this. Because now I will not be working all of them full last weeks that I got with y'all. No. I planned that I would take a week off the last week of the month. So officially the last day is the 31st of October. But my last working day will be on the 21st of October. And I only will be working a half day. And I even planned it in such a way that there are certain type of people that I don't want to see when I leave. Listen, I'm done with y'all. It's being great. It's being real. I feel no need, and there's no hard feelings, so let's not get it twisted. You can absolutely say, I have no ill feelings to you. I so get who you are and where you're coming from and everything else that comes along with it. And I'm so okay saying goodbye. We don't need to see each other to the last moment. We don't have to do that. So I'm happy that, I did that, and I was very cautious with it, because here's another thing. I never told anybody that I actually was leaving. So this was a huge surprise. This was a huge surprise for the people that were sitting there. They were like, what the hell? What in the hell? You could have given me a heads up or something. The only person who knew that I wanted to leave was the person who left himself earlier. Right? That was like my work buddy. He was like my work buddy. I'm not in a space where I'm saying I'm looking forward to it, because that, to me, as weird as it might sound, that to me sounds like you are going way too far into the, excuse me, oof. That to me sounds like you're going way too far into the future. And I've learned my lesson about that. If you go way too far in the future, you're not able to see what it is that you're really going for. That creates anxiety. Stay in the moment. So now I'm actually extra cautious and extra aware of each and every single day that I have right now. And I know that I'm in my last days here, so at the workplace. So I know how I am dealing with the time that I have. I'm not rushing through the day, which is something that I would used to do, in my time of working for companies in those 20 years. I would rush myself through the day, and now it's the first time I literally can say that I'm cool. I'm cool. And that is a really, really, really good feeling. So yeah, listen, that's the thing that I just wanted to share with you all. Your girl will not be working at the company that will not ever be named here on this channel. So you don't have to ask me. I will not mention it. But I'm just really happy that the things went the way they went. And whether there are people that are for me, with me, against me, listen, I leave that up to them. I know that I'm with me. So yeah, that's the tea.